What's good? You're listening to Daniel and Gian talk shit. I am Gian.
And I'm disappointed.
And today we have a very special guest, a fellow YouTuber himself, This Week in Hockey's host, and what do we have? Page owner? What do we call it?
Sure.
Michael Giordano.
Hi there. Thank you. Let's clap for myself.
So today's episode is going to be about Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Michael and I just finished watching it maybe 30 minutes ago. Daniel watched it, what time, 1 in the morning last night?
10.
Nice.
10 p.m.? Oh, you ended up at the 10 p.m. show. Okay, and, before we even, really jump into it, make sure if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, smash that like, ring that bell to get notifications so you can join in on all the fun every week or so. But one thing about this movie, man, is no matter how shitty some of these other Star Wars movies have been and how disappointed I've been, when that music comes out and the story prologue rolls up, it hits me in the feels every single time because it reminds me of being 4 years old and watching a shitty VHS of A New Hope over and over and over again. And I think it's awesome that I still get that feeling, even though I wasn't a big fan of The Force Awakens. I thought it was meh. It was an average movie at best, recycled storyline. But yeah, man, that was a good feeling to start off with. I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts about the film. So Daniel, I feel like he needs to get something off his chest, and I want him to start.
Well, we'll get to it.
Okay.
Wow.
Well,
I had goosebumps too. That was definitely a moment. I was like, when the lights went down after the trailers and everything, I was like, okay. I was getting set like this in my chair, all right, get ready for it. Here it comes. Bam! But it's yes, baby, yes. Oh, so big.
That score is just
too good,
classic.
man.
It's great. John Williams, definitely some of his best work.
Yeah.
He's just an amazing composer. And right off the bat, we get into the film. Where do we start in the film?
It's a battle. It's like a space battle. The Republic's trying to flee. Not the Republic, the rebels are trying to flee whatever base they were just at.
And Poe Dameron goes rogue and decides to
Rogue Dameron.
He has a plan to take out their really big spaceship, which I guess is going to be it's their replacement to the Death Star for this episode. And unlike Empire, we don't see them rebuilding a Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
And he succeeds, but while sacrificing a bunch of rebels and ships, they basically lost their whole armada. And he gets penalized for it. He gets demoted from commander to captain because of it. And then, after that, that's when we jump to the island, right? I think almost immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. I remember being like, I want to just go right to that island. When are we getting back there?
Yeah. I like that opening sequence, Yeah. Some of the acting was cheese. There's definitely a lot of on-the-nose lines.
Oh, my God. The part where he's, calling Hux and is like, hello, I'm holding for Hux.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cheese. That was cheese. At times I felt in this film there was some thrown in humor that was just not. I don't know. I felt like it wasn't called for. He didn't really need it. It wasn't asking for it, but they were really, really trying to push, almost push the Marvel comic formula.
Yes.
Of throwing the humor in for Star Wars had its humorous moments, the original trilogy, but it felt forced. A lot of it felt forced for me. But I liked Snoke being able to throw basically choke dude through his hologram. I think this is we really see the strength of the Force in this film. Daniel, did you disagree?
I'm just waiting. I'm letting you guys get it all out first because once I start talking,
oh man,
you're not gonna be able to shut me up for a while.
Should we just cover the whole movie and then let him go?
Well, no, I'm just. I just want to hear what you. I genuinely want to hear what you guys have to say before I say anything. That's really what it is.
I'm going to be completely honest. I surprisingly really liked this movie.
Yeah, okay.
I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. They had the cheesy moments. It had some really almost cringeworthy stuff, but I actually liked this movie. I liked it way more than I liked The Force Awakens. I really had a good time. There was definitely I caught the feels a few times in the movies. Yoda coming back was fucking awesome.
Yoda.
That was I didn't expect it, and it was great.
Yeah.
It didn't go exactly as I thought. I knew Luke was gonna die. He didn't die the way I thought he was gonna die. which was cool. I thought that was cool that he like basically used every last bit of like chi that he had inside of him to help the rebels escape. Yeah,
that shit was fucking baller, man.
Yeah, I had no idea he was astral projecting either, and I mean, neither did Kylo Ren.
It was like I loved when it's like they focus on his feet, and you see like everyone's feet's dragging in that salt, and you see the red, but Luke's feet wasn't. And I was like, oh, he's a real fucking master of the Force doing that. And then you realize what actually happened. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah. Really, I thought that was really cool. And he was from the island too.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't even on the planet
sick.
with them. Like, even Leia didn't know that he wasn't there. That was great. I loved the battle where, you know, Rey thinks that Kylo's changing and gonna help him, and I was like, no, there's no way they're gonna do that. And it turns out they weren't gonna do that.
Yeah.
You know, he was just
yeah.
You know, parts of me like knew, okay, I know what he's doing. He's trying to kill Snoke, because that's what the Sith do. They always try to kill their master so they could take their place.
Right.
You know. And I thought that was really cool. And it was kind of like he was trying to recruit Rey to be his apprentice. And they could rule the universe together.
Yeah.
Because they have this weird, awkward, like, there's sexual tension between them for sure. You know? Or even sometimes they have that same, like, that feeling that you had between Luke and Leia, too. That they're, like, they might be related, too.
Well, they probably are cousins.
Or something. Like, they definitely had a familiarity with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not cousins if you believe what Kylo said.
If you believe it. True.
I mean, these are all the good things that are popping out right now.
Sure.
We just freshly watched it, and it's just so much, you know, that I can't remember everything. But there's definitely stuff that I didn't care for. I mean, I felt like Chewbacca, R2, and C-3PO.
They were in this movie? Huh?
Exactly. They were just kind of window dressing.
Yeah.
What's her face? The chick from Jurassic Park. That was kind of, I don't know if I bought her.
Wait. Oh,
Dern,
the Admiral, purple hair.
Yeah, exactly. Admiral Purple Hair. You know, it was just kind of, you know, like there was a little too much like lesson teaching going on, I think, at certain points.
Right.
I think, you know, honestly, I hated Kylo Ren in the first one, and I didn't mind him so much this time around.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like, he was a lot stronger for me.
Yeah.
And I like that you can really see the conflict, but I think by now, you know, he doesn't kill Leia. He has a chance to, and he like pulls off the trigger, you know, so there's still something there, but now he's completely foregone. And I mean, I don't know if you agree, but did he use Rey as a pawn in this scheme, or did he really think he could? Is it really both of them trying to convert each other to each other's side?
I do. Well, I totally bought when Snoke was like, I use you both.
Yeah,
and
that
it was
for
like,
sure. Yeah.
So like,
and
I believe
think that was like, that's what set
him off. Yeah. So I'm
this
like,
dude's been punking me way too long.
I believe, yeah, exactly. So I believe that Kylo Ren believed that he could turn Rey, and then when Snoke was like, actually, I made you think that, bitch. You're my bitch. So, and then he was like, I don't want to be your bitch anymore. Right. So that, you know, his transition, I agree. Like, he was stronger in this movie. I was thinking like, so I think Adam Driver is a good actor. I like him. I liked him in the first one in The Force Awakens. But I was thinking, I always think this whenever I see either, I guess, The Force Awakens or now this one, it's like if he and Hayden Christensen somehow switched, it's like what Kylo Ren is doing should have been Anakin in the prequels, and like whiny bitch Anakin should be Kylo Ren. To me, that would make more sense. Okay. But I mean, that's just, you know, obviously could never happen. But it was like I feel like Kylo Ren is the Anakin we should have gotten in the prequels. It's just something fair. I want to say.
I mean, it's
to everyone out there.
Following the same trajectory.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same story.
Storyline, yeah.
That's what. So when the movies, I disliked.
I like how Daniel's just biding his time.
He's waiting so bad. He's like
just ready to rage.
He's like Snoke, ready to like just take control. But
let's talk. It's Snoke. I did not like.
It's Snoke.
Oh,
not
excuse me.
Snope, the website. Like I was just like assuming maybe you guys would correct each other at some point, but it's not. It's Snoke.
This is how it's gonna go, huh?
Not Snope,
all
like
right,
the website.
fine.
Snopes. Sorry, I just had to.
No, it's cool, man. So
I did not. In this, I make this criticism. I feel like every single new movie, but that was another unnecessary CGI.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Like, why do we keep doing that? Like, you could have put that makeup on. You know, I mean, we had fucking in the Goonies. We had
Sloth,
man.
Had
Sloth, exactly. Like you couldn't. By now you should be able to do like makeup, especially because the guy wasn't on screen that much either. Right. You know, what do you have? Maybe 15 minutes of screen time.
Barely.
You know, you could have shot the guy if like, okay, this makeup is really uncomfortable. You could have shot the guy out in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I don't understand why like we have to depend on CGI so much for stuff like that. And I mean, it's kind of like when we watched the Avengers trailer again. Like you see Thanos, and it's like, you probably could have got away with some makeup on Thanos too, but you're making him completely CGI. And I mean, I'd have no idea when it comes to like visual effects, like practical effects, what the budgets are for doing makeup and stuff. But I can't believe that it's cheaper to do a complete CGI thing than it is to just put makeup on people.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't buy it.
Yeah, it was silly.
I think people are just way too... I mean, it's faster, obviously, to do CGI. I'm guessing that's what it is. Like, we're at the point now where we can just fucking blast through CGI where we, before you couldn't so much. Now, Josh Brolin just comes in and does his voiceover.
Yeah, right.
But I don't know, man. But that's... there was also, like, when we went to the casino... There were certain parts where I couldn't tell if it was all CGI or if there was practical. Because I know in the first one, J.J. Abrams really wanted to use as much practical as possible to give it that feel for the original trilogy. This time around, I wasn't so sure a couple times. There was a couple guys that's like... Because, we didn't focus on a lot of these characters in the casino. Just kind of went right past them. So, I don't know. But that was... I don't know. I'm trying to think. Finn... fucking sucked.
He was so lame in this movie.
He was terrible. He was like my least favorite character for sure. Like, and his acting wasn't good either. Like they're like, I feel like Rian Johnson said, just be as cheesy as possible. Like really make this into like a mid-'80s action movie. Like everything you say, it just wasn't, the one-liners and, which isn't fault, but I just felt performance-wise, it wasn't John Boyega's best movie.
No.
For sure. And I just didn't like him whenever he was on screen.
That's why I took my bathroom break during the casino shit.
And then how do you feel about the cute little penguin things? Like,
I don't give a flying fuck about those stupid things.
Do you think that's merchandising?
That's completely 110% mercandising.
Okay, this is we're gonna go for like 45 minutes. I want Daniel to jump in now because now we're starting to get into like really minute stuff. But get one last thing.
Yeah, the last thing. The thing that made me really excited about this movie was when we first saw Rey and Kylo Ren like having their Force connection. I was like, okay, it's like not exactly something that's been done before, but it was like, okay, they're introducing this new dynamic between our like main antagonist and main protagonist, and it's like a complex thing where they're both kind of like, oh, maybe we can help each other sort of thing. And I thought that was like a really cool.
It was also like an evolution of the Force as well.
Yes. Yeah.
And I also want before we turn it over to the Wrecking Ball. I like that we finally see Leia use some sort of Force.
Yes.
I thought she was done. I was like, okay, this is how they're getting rid of her.
They're getting rid of her right away.
They're just gonna kill her in outer space, and she fucking saved herself using the Force. So yeah, I mean, we always knew she was Force sensitive, but we never actually have seen her on screen use any sort of power. And yeah.
Skywalkers, man.
Yeah, man. They got something. It's the midichlorians.
Right. We know now it's the midichlorians.
Yeah. Anything else?
Not, just general stuff.
Welcome to Daniel and Michael Talk.
Let's go.
Gian and
let's
Michael
do it.
Talk.
Yeah, right.
So I went in the theater, and right off the bat, I wasn't, I also got those feels so we could restart the conversation with me involved now. But it just made me also hate watching midnight screenings because I just fucking hate like audience participation. I hate the cheers, the screaming. I just want to watch a fucking movie. Like, we're not at a baseball game. We're not at a sports event. I don't need that. It distracts me. Like, it's stupid, especially when I see like what people are like enjoying and I'm like hating. But I enjoyed the opening bit. The opening bit was cool. I mean, man, I'm just trying to. I mean, I guess I can go through all over, but let me just start with the end. When I left the theater, I felt like this was a huge slap in the face to me as a Star Wars fan. I thought it was I just left disgusted. I was pissed. For me, this is definitely the worst Star Wars movie I've seen. I would compare it. I'd put it up there with Attack of the Clones. For everything it did well, there were so many things it did wrong. You talked about Snoke being like so powerful where he could Snoke so powerful where he can mind do force powers through holograms, but yet he's not powerful enough to see that Kylo's about to kill him. That was so fucking stupid.
I thought that was kind of paid off though, because
no, it
he was
wasn't.
like, I feel you grabbing a lightsaber. I feel you turning the lightsaber on. He said, I mean, that was cheap. That was definitely a cheap justification, but he wasn't talking
to Kylo though.
No, he wasn't talking to Kylo, but he knew that Kylo was going to turn on and the
said
lightsaber. And
he
kill,
said he
and
felt
kill
the
him.
resolve within
No,
Kylo.
you don't set up Snoke. In my opinion, this movie was a response to the backlash of Force Awakens. Okay, because people were, we want something different, and I will give the movie that it was 100% different, but you can't set up Snoke as this. Everything that Force Awakens set up to me has been destroyed. I don't give one fuck about watching Episode 9 now because there's nothing left for me. There's no more mystery. There's no intrigue. If you take Kylo at face value that Rey's parents were nobodies, you know what? I can buy that because that's the Anakin Skywalker story, right? His mom was a nobody. He had no father. I get it. If they want to go that way, fine. But don't make it such a huge thing where like she's trying to search for these parents, and we're gonna hammer it over the head in Force Awakens and this one, and then all of a sudden you're gonna reveal it with a fucking cutaway. I mean, an exposition line. No, and then like I said,
that's exactly why I don't believe it.
But regardless, that's what we're presented in this film. So I can't talk about the future and what they have in mind. It's this movie right now. Okay, Snoke, he is the driving force behind the film. Okay. I hated Kylo in this movie, and I was a defender of Kylo because at least Kylo had something to, in the Force Awakens, he had something gripping him. Han Solo, and I don't know where I'm at. This one, he also had that moment in the beginning. I didn't have a problem with that. With the Leia, he didn't kill him. I wish to God she would have fucking died there. I had thought that Force power shit was so fucking stupid. You cannot survive space. Get the fuck out of here. That's retarded. To me, that's one of the biggest sins I have with this movie.
How many lightsabers do we have in real life, bro?
If she would have died,
how many fucking
if she would have died right there,
elves,
if she would have died right there, nothing would have changed about the movie. Leia added nothing to the movie. There was no other circumstance, no other anything. I don't know if obviously they had shot it with her in mind, and potentially her having a bigger impact in Episode 9. Unfortunately, she obviously we all know she died, so that's not going to happen. And Lucasfilm and Disney have been on record saying that they're not going to do some sort of Tarkin treatment where they're going to give her a 3D CGI treatment. So we don't get to see her full arc for this new trilogy, and that's unfortunate. But she added nothing to the story, and like I said, it was that was the first thing I was like, "What? Really? You're going to go there?" I'm going to take that leap of faith that you're going to survive space. Why? For nothing. She didn't factor into the story at all. If anything, she basically gave permission to Luke saying, yeah, my son's a lost cause. But what did she contribute to the story?
No, I'm with you on that.
I agree with that.
I'll agree with that.
Admiral Purplehair.
I disagree with
Admiral Purplehair.
She was just as useless.
Yeah.
Admiral Purplehair was there as an obstacle, as an unfucking necessary obstacle. She could have easily told Poe, "Hey man, we're just trying to prolong this process so we can get to this point, to this fucking planet,
right,
so we can jettison out." And Poe would have been like, "All right, cool. But if you do that, then you don't have this other cutaway, which led to fucking nothing but Benicio del Toro with his useless ass fucking role." I mean, why set up this master code breaker and then have Benicio not be that fucking guy?
Because Benicio del Toro is the new Lando Calrissian. He's gonna come back in the next one. He's gonna fucking redeem himself like Lando did in Return of the Jedi.
That's projections, because there's no setup to that. There's nothing.
I thought it was going to be Lando. That was my guess.
If
awesome. It was Lando back let's do it.
First place.
I wouldn't have said shit. That would have been badass if it were Lando.
And they let me down. They failed me in that regard.
If it was Lando,
I thought it was going to be okay. Here's the introduction. Billy D. Williams is still alive, as far as I know.
Yeah.
They're going to bring back Lando, and I was like, okay, because that's one of the major. Everybody knows Lando.
Yeah. He's the owner of Cloud City. He's a pimp. He's that guy who would be there. He would be a 1%er in my opinion. Swag City. As old as he is now, if that were him, awesome.
And is that the code breaker that what's her face was sent him to look for, or was the guy at the casino?
The guy at the casino was.
Honestly,
he was credited as such too. So it was the guy that they never resolved that. They just kind of opted out to this other thing.
So it's just this random code breaker. They all right, that is stupid. Although I guess because I didn't want to believe it was that stupid, I was like, all right, maybe this guy actually is the code breaker, and they were gonna bring up like, oh, that dude has his pin for some stupid reason. I'm the real code breaker. No. But then it was just it was
which brings
useless.
up Mott's or whatever her name is. I'm sorry, I forget the little alien, the little stupid. Because we have to have fans. Why even have her in there at all? Well, you're gonna have a little hologram moment. For what? It doesn't add anything. Like I said, have Admiral Purplehair tell Poe, yes, it changes the dynamics of the movie, but the movie's one fucking long, slow chase. Okay, you have some
Literally.
interesting moments going on.
Literally.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, I like right now is my rant section. I have a lot of things that I did enjoy about it, but these things were completely huge slaps in the face to me. Okay, Ray goes from someone who has
defended shittier movies.
Ray
This
has
one, like,
Ray has
taking it back.
Ray has force powers in the first one, right? We get that. She's, that's the whole thing. Force
Yeah.
Awakens, right? But by the end of this fucking movie, she might as well be the prodigy. She might as well be a god, okay? But we see no training. We see none of that. I'm not saying I needed Empire Strikes Back moments here, but that first lesson that Luke gives her, within that fucking scene, she's already doing shit, which maybe that's the writer's way, Rian Johnson's way of saying that's how strong she is. Okay, sure. Maybe. But she didn't earn anything. She didn't earn a single fucking thing. Everything was just, she was able to just have it in her mind, and in one scene she didn't have it, and then the next she had it. There was no moments, I need to bring up the X-Wing from the water like in Dagobah.
Okay, she's the real Jesus Christ.
And she might be, and that
Luke
might be
Skywalker
because,
is the fake Jesus Christ. She's the real Jesus Christ.
and that might be the case, which is why I said to me it doesn't bother me that her parents are nobodies. Because, like I said, in the prequels, that's Anakin's upbringing. Maybe Qui-Gon Jinn was wrong, okay, by saying Anakin was the chosen one, okay? That could have been wrong. It could be Rey. I will not deny that, but you also have to take into consideration a lot of other things here and setups and payoffs, because they didn't set that up, okay? It's a line of exposition.
See, you mean her parents or like
Yeah.
her power?
See,
So-
but that's the thing. I mean, yeah, we're assuming that it's a lie. Obviously we have nothing to support that, but I just don't think it's that simple.
It can't be. He was obviously, to me, he was saying that because like he had just killed Snoke. They just killed that
And there
room
was
full of
somebody else that
guards.
said something you're going to be surprised. Like there was a line in there from someone else that had nothing to do with Kylo at all. That I think it might have been Yoda. I'm not sure exactly what section, but somebody said something like, her lineage is connected to someone like you'd be surprised by who she came from, and that could be that her parents were peasants, or it could be that she might be connected to. Maybe she's connected to Darth Sidious.
I believe she's Luke's like illegitimate child.
I
what
genuinely believe that. I believe Kylo, and
So-
and the reason why I believe that is because Rian Johnson, and then you have to take into consider what happened in Force Awakens. Rian Johnson set up by the end of the very last scene in the movie. Okay, you have that little slave boy, and he does the Force powers on the broom, and he looks up into the stars, and that's what ends the movie.
Yeah,
okay.
right.
That kid, to me, is a nobody. If he's not going to circle back, I don't think he's some lost Skywalker or some other shit. It's showing that there's other Force-sensitive people out there.
But that's the new face of the rebellion. That's what that is. Those kids are going to come back and help. I think the next movie's
maybe,
gonna take,
but
it's
you
going to
could've-
take place 10 years later.
Yeah, right.
Leia's going to be dead.
Yeah.
That's because they have to rewrite the last script. Because from all accounts, Leia was going to be really important to the very last to episode 9.
But I'm just saying though, you could have had that same scene where the boy's like sweeping, and then he looks up into the sky, and you still cut to the ring and shit. Rian Johnson put him to have force powers for a reason. Every single Star Wars movie ends with one of the lead characters. Always. This is the first time it hasn't done that. It ends with a random boy who has force powers and if you follow the theme of the title, right? The Force Awakens, right? So the Force, the obvious title of that, The Force Awakens. Okay, Luke is the last Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay, because now everyone that exists now, Kylo, Rey, the little boy, everyone else who's Force sensitive, they are not Jedis anymore.
No.
They're a part of the Force that is awakening. Okay, that's why they're gonna hold the title Episode 9 to the chest. But there's a literal connection here.
Why I disagree, or the argument why I think Kylo was lying. One, because there is all this set up for her parents, and I'm like, it's got to be bigger than just nobodies.
Because that does nothing for the story.
It does. It does
absolutely nothing.
Other
is
than
why
that
I
connection
hate
you
it.
pointed out, which I think your argument was like almost had me convinced, but I'm still like I want it to be fake. So Snoke, like pretty much earlier in that scene, that little sequence, Snoke was like, I manipulated both of you to get you both here. Now I'm gonna kill you, Rey.
But yet he couldn't see Kylo about to
And
kill him. Fucking stupid.
Notwithstanding, the fight happens, and then Kylo's like, he's got his moment to bring Rey to his side. And so to me, him telling her like, oh, don't worry about your parents anymore, they're nobodies now, but I'm the only one who cares about you. That to me, that was him trying to manipulate her into the dark
They're
side.
master liars.
Like what master new apprentice is.
I mean, this is all devil versus angel.
You could also
Satan
take it
versus-
literal though.
You could.
Because Kylo is literally doing everything he says he's thinking. Get rid of the past.
Yeah.
With the exception of his mother, okay? And by the time after he kills Snoke, there is no more remorse. He just said straight up, let's kill Luke.
But also,
which is another revelation that Luke wanted to kill Kylo. And what happened to the setup with the Knights of Ren coming and burning it retconned Force Awakens, man. So that's why I genuinely think that this movie was a response to the Force Awakens. There were certain lines that I can't remember now. If we did this last night, I'd be able to recall them.
I mean,
but
it was,
felt like
if it was
we're straight.
a retcon, it was a subtle retcon, and
No,
it's not
Yeah, it was
nothing
really
was
subtle.
nothing was
I-
Star Wars
I did
about this
think-
fucking movie. Nothing, every expectation that you had that would have followed the prototypical Star Wars journey was flipped on its head on purpose.
I'm like flabbergasted that you're upset that you didn't get a cookie cutter Star Wars movie, because that's exactly
know, right?
your whole rant
I
right now.
didn't
Your
need
entire
one.
rant right now sounds like, fuck, this movie wasn't exactly what I was expecting. This is fucking bullshit.
You're not listening to anything I said,
No,
and that's
dude,
okay.
everything you're saying is flimsy as fuck, man.
No, it's not.
see-through
No, it's
fucking
not.
paper,
No, it's
dude.
not.
Yeah,
Because
it is,
give me
man.
an argument.
It's-
Give me an
what do you
argument.
mean? Dude, everything you're saying is conjecture. Everything is
All right,
like,
so
it's all flimsy.
give me evidence.
Okay, first off, everything you're saying about Kylo Ren is an assumption. Everything you said about Snoke being so fucking powerful, yet he couldn't tell that Kylo Ren, now you're shortchanging Kylo Ren and thinking that he wasn't advanced enough to okay, this guy thinks he's got me figured out.
What have we
I agree
seen
with
that
that.
would okay, all right, let's go with
The
that.
only thing you've seen between him and Kylo Ren is when he throws Kylo Ren around with
no,
Kylo
I
Ren
mean-
has
No,
to
what you're
attack
gonna
him.
say? No, the thing that we know.
What
that,
do we know about Kylo that would show that Snoke is or that he would have the capability to basically undermine Snoke?
His
What have
connection
we-
with Rey. That's something new.
Yeah.
That's something new, and we don't know the actual power scale of it, but it's something only those two possess.
Well, that's not true because Luke and Vader did that too.
Not from.
That's the only reason.
not from
why-
like across space. It was in the same space, within
No.
the same local space.
Okay, within local space, sure. I don't know their proximity to another.
But they weren't like talking as if like
They weren't seeing
like
each other.
yeah, they weren't seeing each other. They just felt each other. It's a presence I haven't felt in whatever many years. That's what that shit was.
No,
this
Luke
was
and
this
Vader
was a new
talked.
level. This was a new level.
Luke and Vader talked to each other
When?
in Return of the Jedi.
Like father, son. That's like what it was.
Yeah, well, that's also
They weren't having
that
whole-
was also
they didn't touch.
1979, and
They
George
never
Lucas
touched.
wasn't thinking about
It was
Episode 8.
1983.
What
Okay,
the fuck
but yeah,
ever.
but-
But you know what I'm saying though. The story wasn't evolved.
You can't bring that argument into this movie because that's like
That's the lore. Of course I can. Because there are people who are writing this movie. This is a new generation. This is why I said the last.
Yeah, but we've
that's-
already
and
shown
that's
that there's
exactly
an advancement.
why-
There's an evolution of the Force already.
That's exactly why
they're
they're
stronger now. They're showing things that they've never shown before. It's an advancement of the Force, and I picked up on that right away. The Force Awakens. Well, it's a new fucking Force.
hell yeah.
You've seen nothing that Kylo would do that would. No.
No, that's like so like no, I don't believe that at all. First of all, Snoke is focused completely on Rey, and he felt like on the back, he's like, oh, Kylo's, and he described everything. And if you want to argue about that being cheap, that was cheap. But he's like, Kylo's gonna turn on the saber right now and kill. Oh, I'm sliced in half.
Yeah. Also, another argument to be made is Emperor Palpatine didn't know Vader was obviously conflicted. He didn't know he was gonna kill him then because he was so focused on Luke, the same way Snoke was focused on Rey being cut down. You can make that argument. So it's like,
And there was just so much Force happening within the same room,
Right.
As opposed to him kind of playing with their minds a little bit from a distance. I mean, that's
No setup. Everything you just
I mean,
said was just as much conjecture as what I said.
Yeah, but you're like, this is where you have to take a leap of faith at some point, because what you're saying is like the nitpickiest.
Well, I took
of
my
nitpicky-
leap of faith, and you're taking yours, and we're gonna agree to disagree
was-
forever because I
was set
felt
up.
like it was.
Well, no,
cheap.
I mean your leap of faith fucking wipes my ass because you're complaining about shit. No one can fucking save outer space except people are fucking flying around, levitating, picking up rocks, throwing fucking electrocuting people. Like you want a sense of realism in a fucking movie that's nowhere near fucking real at all. And you're just like they're breaking rules because if you want to get mad that they introduced the Force that Leia had some sort of Force power, fucking A, I'm right there with you. I thought it was cool, but I understand that. But now you're saying how could she survive space? No one can survive space.
She was just
It's
floating
a
out-
fucking space movie
She was
with
just-
aliens
she
from
was
like
just-
90 million different
She was
fucking
just floating
planets.
out there for fucking forever, however long, and she decided, yeah, you know what? Now's a good time to
And
use
it's
my
like,
force powers.
hyperspace takes
It's not
minutes.
like oh shit, I'm a force. Let me. Oh, I can clearly see this. Actually, it was coming from behind, but whatever. She decided to activate it when she was frozen. I mean, I thought it was a slap in the face. I thought this whole film was a slap in the face. You know, if you want to talk about Finn, I agreed with Finn. Finn was worthless. Everything they built up in The Force Awakens was destroyed here because all that like mystery and intrigue. And there's one thing that we haven't touched upon either, and I know you're both going to agree with me, but we'll get there right after this. The intrigue that was set up with Finn. Is he Force sensitive? Is he whatever? He uses that lightsaber at the last battle. You know, what is it? What do you get now? Nothing. A bunch of bullshit. You know who else is bullshit? Captain Phasma. I don't know why the fuck she came back. She was fucking worthless. She came back and then fucking died.
Yeah,
okay.
They lied to us about Captain Phasma.
Right.
I was told that she was going to be a little more important in this film. She wasn't. And go back to one of your points. I'm going to completely agree with you. The whole heist sequence was a waste of fucking time. There was no reason. It was just, let's make sure that Finn gets enough screen time.
And as a matter of fact, if the people who like those sequences and shit on the prequel trilogy, get your fucking mind checked. Because the whole time, because I was enjoying like the chase scenes and those, I'm like, this is just what you said about Kylo and Anakin and switching roles or whatever. Maybe it was just his casting, because there was a lot of shit that was on the fucking nose that this could have easily been in the prequel trilogy. Okay, the dialogue, the humor, the forced humor.
I mean,
okay,
we said that.
I understand. I'm regurgitating. I'm affirming that the people like you who hated the prequel trilogy, there's moments in this movie could have been copied and pasted from that same trilogy. Okay, and it was overt. It was obvious. The movie was fucking long. Okay, for the things I liked Yoda. I like how he came back. I like that. Okay. I loved the Millennium Falcon scene when they're going through those salt mines. Like, that was fucking awesome. That was
they were
like
playing the
music.
Cool battle music. Yeah, when that hit,
it was just fucking cool.
That was cool.
But the Millennium Falcon coming in that scene, fucking stupid. Okay, Rey. Okay, we got to do the Han Solo callback. You know, Rey has to be Han Solo, and we got to have Finn go woohoo. Yeah, you got to do that. Yeah, we have to do that. Finn should have died. He should have sacrificed himself. All right, because I love that Asian character. I thought, I forget her name. I'm sorry, but I thought she was a cool Rose. I thought Rose was a cool addition, but I didn't like. We got to force a love story there. You got to do this for the people you love, and then a kiss, and then Finn's like, but. There's no reason why Finn shouldn't have died there if you change his character into this person.
I'm actually disappointed because I was really expecting
Finn and Rey.
No, Finn and Poe.
Oh, that would have been better.
I was expecting the whole gay romance thing that
right.
I thought was.
But he also had a questionable response to that kiss, so he could still be gay.
But that's also but that's like in limbo because it's like, is it because he's in love with Rey? But then the Rey season, it looked like she was like, oh, what's going on over there?
She seemed okay with it.
Yeah, she did, but then she was like, huh. She was intrigued.
But then Poe was like, "Hey, I'm the sexy guy saying hi to you now.
Yeah.
What's up,
we
Rey?"
haven't even talked about Hux and his fucking worthlessness. I just still don't know why
dumb.
I don't know why he survived the first movie. Don't know why he's in this movie.
Well, because he's Kylo's rival, and he's Snoke was using Hux to manipulate Kylo.
Right.
Like, that was like him like holding it over his head to make him to like really.
So why is he still around?
Because you still need a guy to run your army.
General, yeah, he's an underling. You need someone that is incompetent enough he's competent enough to run shit for you, but not competent enough to take over.
So my argument is, what has he done to show his competence?
He's like the guy who was manipulating the king in Lord of the Rings.
I understand. I understand your argument, but what have we seen that showed his value?
He only failed because he's going up against the good guys. These good guys are going to beat him.
That is,
he did everything.
He almost eliminated the rebel army with no help from Kylo Ren at all. Okay. He's the one that planted. He was the one that tracked them down.
Yeah, and that was another thing. If you want to use that as an argument, you have a whole fucking armada, and you're telling me you can't send fighter planes out there. You're telling me you can't the movie starts out with a huge battle.
Look, that's Ryan Johnson. That's not General Hux.
But it doesn't matter, man. I'm a viewer. I'm watching this. I'm not being over analytical. I'm just saying this is shit that I'm watching. So you can pick and choose when Gian decides. When it's the fucking prequel.
Me.
No, I'm just saying, both of you. When it's this movie, it's okay. But when it's this one, all of a sudden, let's turn the fucking brain off here.
I feel like this is backlash because we don't like the fucking prequels, man. I think this is like you coming. You know what? Fuck you guys. The prequels are good.
No, it's
you guys are hypocrites for liking this movie and not liking the prequels.
We can not like the prequels and like this one, even though you think they're similar. Like, there probably are parts that are similar. It's like when I saw the first Force Awakens, I was like, this is what the prequels should have been. It awakened my love for Star Wars in a way that the prequels did not, and it was like, it's the difference in filmmakers is really what it is. It's like,
Like you
you
said,
know,
it's about-
so for me, it was like, I didn't, in retrospect, at the time, I was young enough where I'm like, oh, cool, some more Star Wars movies, prequels are cool. But, then you watch them again as an adult and you're like, oh, these are really bad. And that's George Lucas. To me, that's mostly George Lucas.
Writing. That's writing.
And bad writing. Yeah.
Just bad writing.
Sure.
Because
Fair
visuals and character in terms of like new. Because what I loved about this movie, and I'll let you finish. Sorry.
Yeah,
but what I liked about this movie is the introduction of new character designs, which could be argued for toys, but you got a whole new wide variety, which is why I compare it to the prequels. This is the first time, because in The Force Awakens, like you said, you didn't get anything. You kind of just got to rehash the old one. But in this one, you really got new character designs, new worlds, new creatures, new all this stuff. Whether you like the little penguin things or not, that's fine. But that's what we got in the prequels. That was George Lucas, in my opinion. It's the dialogue that was shitty. It's the direction that was shitty because he was focused on the visual aspect, on that start, on the lore. But sorry.
But it's like, for me, I don't care so much about the visuals. The Force Awakens just was exciting, even though it was like a rehash of A New Hope. It was like exciting because it was like it kind of re-rolled the characters for me. I'm a gamer. I like going through playing a story game with a different character, different setup, and it was like, oh, we've got Rey and Finn and Poe now instead of Luke, Leia, Han. And to me, it was refreshing that it was. It felt like it could be more fun, whereas the prequels just felt real stuffy.
Sure, and I agree with you 100%, which is why this movie was so disappointing.
And it's like,
because I felt the same way with those characters. I thought we're going to go on an adventure with these people, and we did not go on an adventure with these people.
And I didn't really care for The Force Awakens. I was actually writing this movie off because I thought The Force Awakens was just so cookie cutter and so like formulaic and just so trying to just take your money, by playing the same fucking story over and over again. That this one kind of surprised me that it didn't go 100% that way. And I feel validated that my concerns, my critiques of the first one were listened to, maybe not
which
directly.
Is what I said. Yeah.
I mean, and that's, but you didn't like that.
It was a written response. My problem might see if you watch,
it wasn't a written response the way Justice League was a response to Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, but see, I'm going to disagree with that because Rian Johnson's daughter didn't commit suicide. Rian Johnson got to make his fucking movie the way he wanted to make it. No, I'm serious. Zack Snyder didn't get. So I will admit that the shit that we saw in Justice League, we both did the review on it. It was not good. Okay. There was moments of, it wasn't the worst movie, but it wasn't the best movie, et cetera, et cetera. There was that weird line of tone and all this other stuff. But this wasn't Zack Snyder's movie. When it says directed by Zack Snyder, we can both agree this was not Zack Snyder's movie. Okay? So we don't know what that real response would have been. Now, based on our evidence, we can assume it was probably going to be shitty still anyway, but we don't know that. Okay, that's my argument to that. And it's not even it's something that needs to be, it's not even an argument, it's just something that needs to be stated if you're going to use those two as comparisons.
Well, I mean, okay, that's fair. I mean, and I'm not, I'm not defending or bashing on Zack Snyder at all. I just don't. I feel like his past few films have been on a downward trajectory. He just hasn't been that great a director, and Warner Brothers fucked up by putting him in charge of this universe. I'm sorry.
Definitely agree with that.
But I think tonally, this one was consistent all the way through. It might have not been consistent for you with The Force Awakens. I mean, it was a different director because J.J. Abrams directed the first one.
Right.
But
which makes me think about Episode 9. I wonder what he might retcon for this movie.
Is Ryan doing...
No.
Okay. Oh, JJ's going back to... Right.
And, I mean, that has me concerned a little bit. But, that's... What's that, 2 years? And 2 years is the next one?
I think they have planned... So, what really... So I was thinking when the movie started, I didn't like it at first, because I was like, are they really going to try and shoehorn Empire Strikes Back into the second piece of this trilogy?
Which is what I was expecting.
Yeah, I was like half expecting it, and then I saw the crawl, and they're like, oh, they're fleeing a base. The beginning of this movie is Ripple's fleeing a base that the Empire's there or whatever. It was like, okay, they're doing this shit again. But then once I started seeing they made these serious changes with Rey, my favorite parts were with Rey, Luke, and then Kylo Ren. To me, that was the most interesting, and that was also the most different of like any Star Wars movie. This is something they were building to, and I got very excited that Star Wars is taking this risk and being like, we're going to do something else. We're not going to go
Didn't
Yeah,
use
we're
Luke
not going
as
to use his
Yoda.
formula,
Didn't
right?
use
Yes,
the
they
Yoda
didn't.
character.
Luke
he
was
was
Luke was
an
consistently
asshole.
like, "Fuck off! I don't want to do
and
this."
I had
It
no
was
problem
great.
with that. I had no problem with any of that. I know it sounds like my problems were as follows, literally, and I'm not even going to re-explain them. I didn't like Space Leia.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I just didn't like it. I
Mhm.
didn't feel it fit. Okay, I did not care for Snoke dying not in that way per se, because the scene itself by itself, if I were to rewatch it, it was cool. I have no problem. It was just in the moment it did, because to me, they dismissed Snoke. Okay, they set Snoke up as some sort of emperor-like person, right? Where you're gonna assume he has a backstory, he has a significance to the plot, because we don't know his motive. We might not ever know now, and that bothers me. Okay, I don't need a cookie cutter thing. I don't need to see, oh, he was actually a senator, blah blah blah. I don't need to see that. But what is his intention? It being pure evil is not good enough for me.
But that's basically what the Sith are.
But I understand that. But there is,
and that's part of the Star Wars lore.
I think
it's the reincarnation of the Sith. This is the new whatever the fuck you want to call them. The
but
First
we
Order.
don't know that. We're
They're
making
not
that
the Empire
assumption
anymore. They're the First Order.
You might be explaining why they killed him so easily, because they were like, "Oh, we've actually reached a dead end with this guy because we don't know where he's coming from. We don't have the time or energy to explain it."
That's I just felt like
So
it
let's
was.
like
But now
let's
you're gonna
supplant him with Kylo
but
Ren.
Here's the cool thing: now you're gonna have a movie that's entirely Kylo Ren, the bad guy, where we didn't get an entire Darth Vader, the bad guy movie.
Sure. Okay.
You know?
Again, like I said, it wasn't the fact that the event happened. It's not that he died that bothered
No,
me.
you think he died too easily because of the way they set him up at the beginning of the movie.
and not only and it wasn't a solid payoff where I felt like his character was resolved. Okay, it was a cheap shot. In my opinion, he was set up to be more important than he was, and then they just.
How did you not know he was gonna die in that scene?
I knew he was gonna die, but see, I thought something fucking cool would happen, better would happen, where he's like, fucking Kylo's doing this thing. Oh, he's not gonna see my hands, okay, because he fucking has a retarded eye, so he's just gonna, he's not gonna see my force hands and shit, not gonna feel my force powers, and that would have been badass, okay, if Snoke fucking pulled the lightsaber away or whatever, he did some crazy shit.
I was expecting Snoke to be like, no.
Where he did
Stop.
some crazy shit where maybe he got that blue lightsaber and held it right to Kylo's throat, where it's floating in the fucking air because he just saw right through it because he's that fucking powerful, which is how they set him up to be, in my opinion. Okay, that would have been way more. And then you could have had, and then that's where the creativity of writing comes into play, because you could still have the same fucking movie. You just have to figure out how you're gonna get to that point now. So it, like I said, it was shortchanged in my opinion because it happened right there. And also, I did know he was gonna die. Because if you watch the movie, and this is what I was thinking, this is Return of the Jedi right here. This is literally Return of the Jedi.
It did feel like Return of the Jedi.
Because you have that scene where Kylo and Rey are in that elevator going up to see Snoke.
I mean, that was almost word for word,
They're literally looking at each other, and they're talking to each other just like Luke and Vader.
Yeah.
Okay? And then what happens? Snoke takes Rey's lightsaber, which is what the Emperor does to Luke's lightsaber, and has it right next to him, okay? And then you have Snoke making Rey watch the Rebel Alliance get destroyed, which is what the Emperor does to Luke, because that battle's going outside of Endor. Same fucking thing. And then you have the moment of like Rey's like about to die and all this shit, whatever, and then you have the goodness. Well, and I understand, I get it, I understand the writing, because you think, because of what Return of the Jedi did, that you think, oh, maybe, Rey is Kylo's doing this because he's going to do the Vader thing and he's going to turn. I understand as a screenplay writer that might come off as, reading it. I get it. Because me explaining it right now, it sounds like, well, duh, that's fucking what it was. That's why it was awesome. But you're undermining the character involved here. It worked in that Emperor scene because you had 3 films with the Emperor. Now, I'm not saying you need 3 films with Snoke, because what you said, an all Kylo movie would be cool, okay? And that's what we're going to get.
I mean, and this is the only movie that has Snoke in it. The only other time you saw him for 10 seconds as a hologram.
But you knew who he was, though.
You had a feeling. We were wondering who he was. We knew he was, and this is set, and this is like fucking canon, which shouldn't be relied upon, but it's canon that we know that all Sith roll in 2s. There's always a pair of Siths. So you know that there had to be a master to Kylo Ren at some point. Just like the Emperor was Darth Vader's master. Just like who was Darth Maul's master? I mean, the Emperor was Darth Maul's master as well.
There's also a Darth Sidious in there in the prequels.
Well, the Emperor Palpatine is Darth Sidious.
which they mentioned.
Oh, who was the other? Who was
name.
Christopher Lee then? Whatever his name was.
He was.
Was he Darth Tyrannus or some shit?
Tyrannus. No, that was Count Dooku.
Yeah, and that's like those prequels kind of went away with the whole
Right.
pairing thing because that like you had like a whole armada of
Yeah,
Sith.
right.
You know.
No, there was still a pair because Count Dooku's his apprentice was Qui-Gon Jinn.
Before he turned.
Mm-hmm. That's how it's all connected. I'm just saying, like,
But I'm not saying the pairs like it used to be where it was only. They got to a certain point when we get to the original trilogy. Darth Vader and Darth Sidious are the only Sith that are left.
Yeah,
because
and
they
that's
killed
when,
all the Sith.
and that's when Yoda drops the line that
Yeah.
they come in twos.
Yeah.
Is in that,
Right,
and then also in the prequel too. But you know, I'm just saying, man. And then I didn't like Finn's character. I didn't like how like I said, how that added up to nothing.
Yeah.
It was nice to explore the world. It was nice to see other things, and it was nice to see these gamblers. It was nice to.
No,
hear
it was 30
Benicio.
minutes that were unnecessary. Like you could have cut that out, and we could have been at a 2-hour movie.
It was
Yeah.
nice to see Benicio del Toro. I liked his character.
I was excited when he showed up, but then we have like 5 minutes of him.
It didn't do anything, but I liked his dialogue where he was talking about like these people
his
here
stutter
are
kind of
arms,
ruined it for me. to
are
be honest with you.
arms dealers. You know, they deal with the Sith and the rebels. Like that was cool because usually everything's like fucking black and white in this world, and so now you get to see some gray.
Yeah, that was.
But I just
interesting.
figured, because of Rogue One, because for all intents and purposes, whether or not you liked Rogue One or not, Rogue One had the most balls out of all the Star Wars films, in my opinion, because they killed them all, right? Now, obviously, they had to kill all the characters, but I thought they might do that with Finn, especially since they changed Finn to what he was, And it's just... and then there's something else. I don't know why. Or Captain Phasma. I thought that was all unnecessary. Hux also unnecessary.
I think Phasma will come back somehow.
Well,
I think she's going to come back with an eye patch on the eye that was exposed. We're going to see her face.
She's this trilogy's Boba Fett.
but not as cool.
Right.
But see, I disagree with that too. That's why I don't think Boba Fett needs a fucking movie.
You don't think Boba Fett was cool?
I don't think if you watch for real talk. If you watch the original trilogy again, I think Captain Phasma has more screen time than Boba Fett ever had.
I'm sure she does.
Now Boba Fett gets Han Solo, right? Kind of gets Han Solo. He doesn't really get him. He transports Han Solo, but
He
other
gets
than
the money for him.
he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything. In terms of bounty hunters, the most developed bounty hunter is Jango Fett.
Dude,
his
Boba
dad,
Fett is cool
because of his costume.
because of his costume and because he's basically the ninja and the movie came out in the 80s and he was the ninja character and ninjas were popular as fuck in the 80s.
I have no qualms with Boba Fett. I do have qualms with people thinking him he's like the most badass motherfucker and he hasn't done anything. He literally did nothing but die and
I
get
feel he's
eaten.
also been more developed in the cartoons and shit too. I
Sure.
might be wrong, but
And
I
the
personally
extended
don't give a
universe.
shit about Boba Fett. That's he's not one of my favorites. Although I do have a Funko Pop right up there.
But it's like I said, I plan to rewatch this movie because now I want to watch it with the mindset of like, regardless of how much I bitch, no matter how much I complain, everyone fucking liked this movie. I'm in the minority for sure.
I mean, and that's a classic Danielism right there.
But this is a true one. This is one I genuinely feel this way. But I'm gonna watch the movie again with this in mind. Okay, now that I understand what the plot development is, now I'm going to actually watch what Rian Johnson was intending to do because now I know all the cards. I know what's in place. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to lie. I might watch it and I might like it. I might enjoy it because now I'm accepting of these things. But going into it, having my
I
expectations...
need you to watch it 6 months from now once the hype has died down.
Sure, I don't mind. I'm just saying...
I think that affects it.
Because I had a lot of expectations. They didn't need to hit my things. They didn't need to. Okay, we need to find out who's Rey's parents. I didn't need Empire Strikes Back like you were thinking. I was also thinking, I'm like, oh no, please don't do this because this movie was different. It was refreshing. It turned all those
it's not refreshing enough.
expectations on its head. Well, like I said, it's just undermining. With the exception of Space Leia, that's the one I can never argue.
Can never get past that. All right, Mike, you got any closing thoughts before we give our final ratings on this?
Oh well, geez, Louise. No, I mean, I exited this movie like loving it. I had no idea what fucking episode 9 is going to be about. What
Which
that's
is
going to be
a problem.
like.
That's a problem to me.
I understand it as a problem.
Well, it's good.
I'm
It's
also excited
I know
because I'm
it's gonna
like,
be a final battle. And
there
I'm
has
okay
to
with
be
that.
like
Yeah.
it's
Maybe.
it's weird to like end end the saga.
Well, there's also
one movie short
they've
of
also
the
said
end.
that they're gonna stretch this thing out for fucking years, right? So that
Well, Rey's done after this one. She's already said. Daisy, she said she's not doing Star Wars
if she
anymore.
dies, that'd be fucking awesome.
Right. I mean, that'd be great. That'd be great for her character.
They
Whatever.
killed fucking Logan. They could kill her.
I'm excited because, to me, like the sacrifice of Snoke was worth it to set up Rey and Kylo Ren. To me, like I loved that shit. I like I said before, I love that connection they have. It's something new. It's something exciting, and it's complex because it's not black and white. It's like we can help each other. We can, they're both playing that game, and to me, that's very exciting for the next movie. Because I like both the actors. I think they did great in this movie. So I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
that alone is gonna get me into the theater for
And
9.
maybe that's why I need to watch it again, because my expectations were astronomically high because I was so intrigued with what Force Awakens set up.
Yeah.
So when I got that curveball, because regardless if I liked it or loved it, whatever, it was a curveball. We can all agree that this movie was a huge fucking curveball. And, I need to watch that with that in mind now. I need to know that so I can feel like, was it really, because I can only go off of what I was feeling at that moment, 10 o'clock last night, you know, and because it felt like a slap in the face.
I wonder how you would feel about this movie had you had a better day yesterday before seeing it. I feel like that's also
Or you see it like
factor.
first thing in the morning with an audience that was relatively quiet for
Right.
us. Like I wonder how active your audience was.
And that's all. That could be a factor. I'm not gonna lie. But usually when we do these podcasts, like I was in love with Blade Runner 2042 when we did it. We had a fucking argument about it, and by the end, we came to a consensus where I was like, all right, I can see your point. And now that's kind of probably how I'm gonna look at the movie now, the synthesis, right? And same thing with like other movies that maybe like Wonder Woman, where like I adored it, and then I hear Gion's points, and we come to a consensus where I don't necessarily always agree, but like there's certain things that I didn't see, whatever. So like I was looking forward to today, like okay, we're gonna hash it out and talk about it and see maybe I'm fucking crazy or maybe they both agree with me, or Gian. Like I said, I didn't know you were coming today. Not that's a bad thing. I'm just saying.
Nobody gives a fuck about your opinion, Mike.
But
cool, man.
it's just like. I still feel very adamant about what I do right now.
Well, I mean,
which is why I need to
feel
have
like
separation
right
and rewatch
now,
it.
I feel like you are definitely a bigger Star Wars fan than I am because it's almost like you're hurt by the movie.
Yes. When
and-
I real quick, and I shared this on with that little live stream. No, I didn't share it on live stream, but we can end with this story. My first day at USC. I don't know how your first day was, but we have that sound class together?
Yes.
So, very first day at USC film, you have a sound class, and they show the first reel of the original Star Wars.
Mike is also a Trojan, by the way, but he was in the writing program of
Right.
the film.
True.
You didn't have to take the sound class, did you?
No.
No, because he's
Yeah.
masters. So
'Cause-
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they don't want to give production classes to writers.
Of course not. Why would you want to do that? It's
Yeah. God forbid I want to take an editing class.
yeah, exactly. Right. But they show the first reel of Star Wars, the original reel, with the original voice actor of Darth Vader, with no sound of like the ship going
Oh, wow.
overhead,
Yeah.
whatever. But the intro music is still the same, right? Now I remember when that first crawl, the feels, I had the feels there because it represented two things for me. One, I felt like for whatever reason, and it's the only day at USC I felt this way too, mind you, where I felt like I earned something. Like I felt like I made it. Like I'm here at USC. I'm at the best film school in the world. This is fucking awesome, right? And then it also was like, this is my childhood. Like this is actually my calling. This is what I want to do. Like I grew up on Star Wars. Star Wars is like my favorite fucking thing, which is probably why I like the prequel trilogies because I can sit there and enjoy Star Wars. I like Star Wars to me. And so when I was watching this thing, I'm like, oh, this is just mind blowing. And it was just really, because I'm connected to that universe wholeheartedly. So when things I'm not going to say go my way because that's selfish and the Star Wars isn't my story, But when they're like, it just didn't fit. And that's why I need that separation now that I know that this exists regardless. And I need to see, okay, do I really hate it like I am right now? Or am I just so blinded by like, my lack of living up to my expectations or whatever.
I'm with you. I think you need a cooling off period and then check it out again and better atmosphere as well. Maybe in a couple weeks when people aren't going to it either.
I can still see it in the theater,
still see it in the
IMAX
theater.
or something, non-3D because I saw it in 3D.
Oh,
See,
really?
you're just checking off all the I fucked up
Give me
boxes.
a break.
But I'm just saying though, like right now, so because the thing is, I don't even know if I could rate this movie because I'm conflicted as fuck.
All right. Well, we'll give you an incomplete because we got to wrap this up. But Mike, I'll let you go.
What's your rating system?
It's, out of
1
10.
out of 10.
I'll give it like an 8, I think.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm gonna give it an 8. I was pleasantly surprised. I had a way better time than I was expecting to have. I liked it that much more than The Force Awakens. Personally, I thought it was a solid flick. I might go watch it again in IMAX myself just to get like the different experience. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up. I mean, we could do I don't know. Maybe we'll revisit it.
Probably will, because I didn't even scratch the surface.
I mean, this might also be an opportunity, like after you watch it, to do a solo revisit as well.
That'd be cool.
You know, that way no interruptions and you can just fucking.
No, conversation's good because but anyway, I'll keep going. But no, I think conversation is important for a movie like this because I feel like I'm in the minority without a shadow of a doubt.
You know,
although I did have,
it's fine being a minority,
I did
man.
have a few friends that I also consider like Star Wars fucking nerds text me yesterday and this morning, did you like the movie? I fucking hated it.
And then
they were telling me that.
And then maybe we should also kind of throw out there that Mike and I are closer in age. So when the prequel trilogy came out, we weren't kids.
Yeah, we weren't. I was a teenager.
You know? Yeah, I mean, when you watched
I was 7 or 8.
Exactly. So your view on it back then, you're gonna have a completely different experience than I'd already gone through like 10, 15 years of
and a different experience than the kids who are watching it right now.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
and I agree.
And I wanted to actually bring up that you can watch this on this other podcast we did with Kat from DJ's Universal Comics, but he brings it up that these movies are not made for adults, even though we're holding on to them. Because we grew up with them.
It's a new generation.
These movies are made for the new kids to get them into Star Wars so they can buy more toys and shit as well. But anyways, that's gonna do it for us. You know the drill. Smash that like, ring that bell. If you're listening on iTunes, please leave us a review, preferably 5 stars. But if it's less than 5 stars, we'd like to hear why you think it sucked. Also on SoundCloud, make sure to listen. If you're listening on SoundCloud, leave us comments, talk to us there. We're on Overcast. We are on Stitcher. So yeah, and make sure to check out Mike's channel. It's called This Week in Hockey. We'll put a link to it in the description.
Hell yeah.
And we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, people. Peace. Live long and prosper.
All right, I gotta go drop that bottle off before.